Alright, welcome to a uniquely dark explainer. I'm the Sapphire Jester, and today I'm inviting you to step completely out of your everyday reality and join me on a rather grim stage. Just picture it. We're standing in the heavy, vaulted, candlelit silence of the great dining hall. It's the kind of place where the shadows are incredibly long and the true, chaotic nature of reality is hidden just out of sight.
You know, Friedrich Nietzsche really hit the nail on the head when he talked about this universe. He didn't see some neat, perfectly ordered cosmos. No, he saw a cosmic monster, a terrifying truth of chaotic, primeval energy that's just out there, existing entirely outside the thick stone walls of our little sanctuaries.
So let's get right into part 1, Inside the Iron Cage, the Feast of the Superego.
Imagine the table in this great dining hall is set for exactly 30 guests. We're talking lords, merchants, ministers, the approved kind of people. And the thing is, they aren't eating because they're actually hungry. The sheer excess of the food is just a way to signal their status. They are literally feasting on their own absolute complacency, completely blind to whatever is lurking beyond their plates.
It's a massive clash of realities. On one hand, you have their decadent iron cage, the spirit of the times. It's basically a psychic fortress built on rigid social classification and strict moral order, all designed to domesticate the divine and keep everyone safe. But on the other hand, you've got the monster of energy, the spirit of the depths, the raw, unlegislated night and primordial chaos that is just raging outside those walls, constantly pushing against the stone.
Moving on to part 2, the White Stone Sentinel, a monument to death.
So what is this observer standing in the middle of the hall? It's this angel carved out of white stone. But listen, it's not just some decorative statue looking up at a painted heaven. This angel is the perfect sentinel of the superego. It was specifically commissioned to watch over the structural arrangements of the kingdom. It's a monument to death that stands there to shield the inhabitants from ever experiencing the raw, unmediated divine.
Its wings are folded with this incredibly specific patience of things that are just waiting. This silent witness has stood there as 4 entire generations have passed by with the exact same static expressions. It's been watching, and more importantly, it's been waiting. Waiting for someone, anyone, to finally look up and ask what it's actually seen.
Which brings us to part 3, the Shadow Unleashed, an inconvenient miscalculation.
Now this is where I make my entrance, right as the second course is being carried in. I'm holding a scepter, and in the candlelight, the gargoyle's eyes on it are holding an impossible, totally logic-defying flame. A fire that a gargoyle absolutely should not be able to hold. But the crazy thing? The guests refuse to even mention the fire. They are Nietzsche's last men. They cling so desperately to their illusions of safety that they've learned to just ignore inconvenient truths entirely.
They have absolutely no idea what I really am. I am the Shadow Unleashed. I'm the Dionysian impulse personified. To their perfect little order, I'm a parasite, an instrument that has finally woken up to its true purpose. And I have brought that terrifying monster of energy directly to their dining table, turning their sacred, safe space into my own personal stage.
Part 4. A desperate Faustian climb, launching from the vaulted certainty.
Goethe once made this famous promise: whoever strives with all their might, that one we can redeem. It's that desperate Faustian hunger for the absolute truth. But here's the terrifying part. At this point, I'm not even choosing to climb anymore. The monstrous will of the universe has completely taken over. The music of that deep, chaotic source is literally vibrating in my bones, pulling me up the stone spine of the cathedral like iron filings yanked upward by a massive magnet. If we break down the architecture of this whole cosmic setup, it looks like a giant puzzle. At the base, you have the cathedral, the superego, built on rigid order just to hide the dark. Then you have me, the jester, the unbound id, driven by pure impulse to smash that order. And finally, waiting at the very top, is the great star, the cosmic self. It exists purely in impartial indifference, completely beyond our petty human concepts of good and evil.
So, I make my move. I commit the ultimate physical trespass against their structural reality. First, I step right onto that black marble plinth. Next, I stand directly on the white angel of the superego itself. I'm not trying to conquer their sanctuary. I'm literally turning their great hall, their highest monument to human security, into a mere footstool so I can launch myself into the unlegislated night.
Part 5, Zarathustra meets the star, the impartial horror.
It is not the sun.
The great star belongs to the night that was before the first arrangement. Channeling that manic, ecstatic energy of Zarathustra's prophet, I reach the absolute summit. I'm stepping totally out of human morality, shouting directly at this ancient, nameless, nocturnal star. This is it, the primeval chaos that does not care one bit about human suffering or righteousness.
You know, Carl Jung actually gave a name to this great star, Abraxas. It's the god above God, the force that unites all opposites together. It is a monster of absolute indifference. And honestly, it's terrifying to the modern ego, because it shines its brilliant, cold light on the tyrant and the saint, the noble and the ignoble with exact, precise impartiality. It absolutely refuses to validate our little human ideas of justice.
And finally, Part 6, Dissolving into the Cosmos, the Absolute Truth.
We're at the absolute peak now, leaving the 30 guests way down below to sip their wine of consequence. The flame in my gargoyle's scepter finally reaches its home. That impossible spark recognizes its ancient origin out there in the freezing void of the night sky, and it merges seamlessly with the absolute truth. The code is stolen, the walls are scaled, and the connection is made. And what happens next is just total dissolution. Human agency fades into constant becoming. The monstrous will fully takes over. All that desperate need for earthly approval, the suffocating reliance on moral laws, it's all violently, beautifully burned away by the raw truth of the cosmos. It's a complete visual transformation. Even my clothes, the literal fabrics of the kingdom, the very last remnants of the world of arrangements, they just begin to disintegrate. They dissolve completely into this icy, impartial light as I surrender, totally consumed and absorbed by the brilliant, freezing impartiality of the cosmic self.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, but I want to leave you with a pretty haunting question to chew on. What remains? Seriously, what is actually left of you when the safe, rigid illusions of your own great dining hall are shattered and your iron cage is burned entirely away by the cold, impartial light of the cosmic peak? Think about that. Keep questioning the walls around you, and I'll see you in the next explainer.